Great. Hang on a second. Sorry, I'm just being, browser being slow. Browser being really slow. Okay, that should do the trick. All right. Okay, I just dropped the link to the YouTube stream into the chat. Hey, everybody. We're running a skeleton crew here today. I guess in honor of the Winter Olympics, we're running a skeleton crew. It's not even funny. But if anybody is confused about the second one, that's not even a meme. That's just true. You know, that's actually I got another one for y'all. Let me. Yeah, Singles Awareness Day. Yeah, Tyson. Yeah, Seth. Anyway, no, the other one, that's Lionel Richie. Again, this is a cultural reference that goes back, quite a ways. That's Lionel Richie. The song is Hello. And that's a shot from the music video of the song Hello, which includes the line, everybody who knows it, hello, is it me you're looking for? And so that's I'm trying to go for romance, trying to go for, you know what I'm saying? It's Valentine's Day. So I'd like to just wish y'all a happy, romantic, hopefully there's, someone in your life. If not, I have a meme for you because, it happens. Let me see if I can find this for you because it's really something important in your life. Oh, and speaking of which, so I'm being my systems, it's always freaking slow. Sorry, my pals. We're going to get it. We're going to get it. Come on, man. Come on. I got one I have to share. It's for the Lonely Hearts people out there in our group. And come on, man, where is it? I just had it. Oh, here we go. Here we go. This is in honor of this one. You have to live this. You have to live this. So my so how should I say this? I know I have really good friends who are living this world of trying to find love on some random spot. And this is very much kind of what it looks like to them. It's just not a good look. Wait. Did I see this question about? Oh, wait. Random question. No, I was not at the Dream Theater concert on Thursday. Or was I last Thursday? No, I was at. Yeah, and yes, apparently we all missed it. Okay, um, let's roll. Let's roll, man. Okay, I wanted to do. Oh, first thing I wanted to do. I wanted to show you something that a week or so ago. Let me blow this up. Can you see that on the video? Should be okay. A week or so ago, I was out on date night in Provo, and there was it was down in the red brick buildings down on Center Street and University in Provo. I know you're all like UVU Orem snobs who don't go down to Provo or something, but anyway, I think you know the space. And where am I at here, man? Man, everything's being slow. Okay, but anyway, if you know the space, there's restaurants and stuff down there in that kind of University and Center Street. The brick buildings right on the north side of Center Street. Anyway, we went to a restaurant there that we had not been to before. Black Sheep, I think, was the restaurant. If anyone's been there, I'm curious what you thought of it. Um, Anyway, you come out, there's a restroom, and because it's kind of downtown, whatever, they've got like a lock on the restroom, but they give you a combo, okay? And so popped out, into the little interior part of the building, there's like a hallway, and then there's the restroom. This is just the little door thingy, but this is what it looks like, and they've given you a 4-digit combo. So I just want to know what your reaction is, just looking at that. Also, keep in mind that a lot of these devices, when we talk about design, right? A lot of these devices are, I'm 6'2", or at least I used to be before spinal surgery. Um, I'm a little shorter now. I lost like half an inch during spine surgery, two spinal fusion surgeries, one in my neck and one in my lower back. But anyway, but I'm still, tall. And so I often get this sort of like vantage point of looking down. This one, I actually lowered my camera more to get the shot, right? And for starters, I don't know if you can see it, but bottom line is you get the red light, and then it's just that dim. That's just natural light. So I took another one, just got closer and sort of made it artificially bright. But that's actually what you can kind of see if you do it in a kind of an unnatural, in an unnatural kind of way where you get some light on it. Hang on a second. No, it's just one of those things. And then the other thing that was kind of funky about it was when you pushed in the combo, so I had to like get all the way down, like crouch down and get a look to be able to see where the keypad, what the numbers were, so I could do the thing. And then when I actually pushed it, this was the best part. When I keyed in the little combo, also it didn't say whether to push pound or star or just nothing. So we went ahead and tried it with star. It worked. Dun 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 star, and then you go, and then you could hear the door go, the kind of the unlocking sound, right, on the door. And then what did the light do? Any guesses what the light did? Because we've been talking about the whole, you know, yeah, Tyson, good guess. Green. Incorrect. Yeah, Walter's right. Walter wins the chat so far. It stayed red. The light didn't do anything. Nothing happened to the light. It just stayed red. but it went sort of like based on the sound, clunk, opened up the door. It's just, I don't know, right? So this is all prelude to use cases, okay? Um, yeah, Wes, I don't know what, right? I don't know. Bypass indicator, I don't know, right? What is it? NFC, yeah, right. I mean, I guess I could be. Maybe. Right. What you're saying, Wes, is you're bypassing the keyboard, right, with like a near field, you touch contactless, touch a card, and then maybe their light turns green. But for, Joe on the street like me, chink, 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 pound, king, no change. So if you're waiting, but that red light, the door is locked, you've been given a combo, the light is red, right? The red light says I am locked. And if it doesn't change, it says I am still locked. Even though you hear the sound, you're like, I guess I'll try to open it, and then it works. And then you're like, you deceiver. You just freaking deceiver in the hallway. Anyway, I forgot to share that with you last time, but those were just, pictures that I took. Um, just if you keep your eyes open, it's really all around you. Um, just the bad and good and good. Oh, the reason I had to use the keypad was it's a locked bathroom. So it's kind of like the shared restroom for all the restaurants or stores, restaurants in that building, in that floor, and they have it padlocked. I think just I don't know, random non-customers, coming in and taking up residency in the bathroom. I have no idea. I mean, that's my best idea, right? Of why you see that sometimes in downtown buildings with a kind of a publicly reachable bathroom. Loiterers, exactly, Gunnar. Anyway, so, okay. What else did I want to share with you? Oh, and you remember the keys? Remember the key? Here's the key. And they'd always put it on a big, like, cinder block, that you had to, like, haul around with you so that you for sure remember to bring it back. Remember those days? The key we had to go around the outside, back around the outside of the business. Yeah, those were the good old days. So those days still exist. Um, okay, where am I? Hey, where did we get? What did we do last time? Oh, by the way, hit the attendance, please. And also, by the by, next Monday is President's Day. Mike's welding teacher attached it to a 2-foot crescent wrench. Nice. Nice. Yeah, might as well do a cinder block. Did we get all the way through UML? Does that ring any bells? The slides on UML? I feel like we did. The overview slides. Yeah. I just pulled it up. Yes, we did get through all the UML stuff, and thank you, James. Um, so I want to do. Oh, we started talking about. We actually got into the use cases. Okay, so let me do this instead. I want to pull up a little more of the design of everyday things. I think we started in on the design of everyday things. The key thing with these slides, with this kind of these sort of it's not really a lecture; it's a discussion. I want to get your involvement on these, but when we do the Norman stuff, it's kind of important to get the interaction. So I appreciate your participation. Sorry, everything's moving really slow, so I'm just shutting down a few things. Hang on, hang on. That ought to speed things up just a little bit, I hope. Okay. Alrighty. Yeah, let me. Yeah, let me hit. I'm gonna go back to Don Norman, to the design of everyday things. And we started in. I don't think we got very far in this discussion. Don't think. Um, we talked about. I showed you the book and some of the little highlights. I don't think we got too far in. Okay, did we do this one? I don't think we did this one. I'm just going to go from here because I want to hit some of these topics. Um, this is Don Norman. This is from the book. When you have trouble with things, whether it's figuring out whether to push or pull a door, or the arbitrary vagaries of the modern computer and electronics industry, it's not your fault. Don't blame yourself. Blame the designer. It's the fault of the technology, or more precisely, of the design. And one thing I think I told you about, my experience with, the lady at the doctor's office who would say every single time, I'm just not really good with the computer, and would blame herself, right, when she was dealing with this crappy business software running on, I don't even know what, right, Windows 2000 or whatever it was at the time, Windows 90. What was the Windows 90 something? What was the big one? Windows 95, whatever it was. You remember this? Anyway, now there is a thing. There is a thing when it comes to interfaces where, 95, 98. There is a thing that comes into play with interfaces, which is that it has taken, when computers were really, when they lacked horsepower, um, it was harder to build really great interfaces because it does take horsepower to power an interface. And if you're barely able to do, sort of minimal things, you may wind up, your world might look like Unix slash Linux slash DOS, and that's your world, kind of command line typing and, and applications and graphic interface stuff. And, it did take a while for horsepower to catch up so you could do some of the things you were thinking about. So there's an element of that, okay, going back kind of historically. But Norman is right. And these days, there's no excuse for bad interface design. But remember again, and this is just, man, if there's one thing you could walk away from this class with, apart from the fish story, it would be the idea that interface design at every level, and I'm not talking about just about user interface design, I'm talking about all interfaces to everything. A couple things I want to say that are important. One, it's a failure to understand use case design, and it's a failure to possess and practice, possess and or practice empathy, which is the heart of use case design. Okay, which means that you've got to perceive it from the perception of the user, the other person. So, like when Wes was talking about the picture of the little keypad, and Wes was saying maybe it's an override for the near field touchless card or whatever. Maybe, but in that case, it's a failure on the part of the designers of that device to understand that somebody else needs to also know it worked and the door is unlocked when they're pushing the buttons independent of that, right? It sort of is a classic mechanism by which you ignore, you sort of, um, you fail to have empathy for at least one sort of major quadrant. I'm going to give you one example. I'm going to pull this up, and you may find this interesting, or you may not. But I want to just show you something. This one's going to be on Google Maps. I'm just going to show you a thing. and we can do. I want to do a couple things that relate here that hopefully will make some sense to you. And I'm waiting for my screen to load. Should have had it ready. Sorry, I'm waiting on my browser. My browser being stupid. Come on, man. Okay, here we go. I want to tell you a story, and this relates, all this kind of comes back to use case design, and it comes back to Don Norman. And if this page will ever load, I feel like it's 1994 or something. And the only thing we're missing, okay, there we go, is the sound of that modem, the tortured transmission of the bits. Okay. I want to show you something. Where are we? Okay, I'm gonna get this over here. So you guys remember I was on faculty at the Y, and there was an interesting exercise. I want to show you. I need this in satellite mode. Map, terrain. There we go. All right. I want to show you, and I've got my big screen over here, so just that's why I'm sort of neglecting you in terms of camera here, but big screen here. All right. So you see, okay. Why the grid? Is the grid a thing? No, the grid is an artifact of slow loading because it's 1994. Okay, do you see this building right here? That is the Talmadge building. That was my building. And I had my own personal building. Now, what I want to show, this is a satellite photo. We're in the dark here, unfortunately. But I think that you can maybe make some sense out of this. My office, by the way, was this part of this building, second floor, right there on this corner. And so my office looked out onto the roof, but it had an amazing view of Timpanogos on the left and Y Mountain on the right and whatever they call that canyon, Rock Canyon. Okay, but here's the critical thing that I want to just kind of point out to you. They built this building right here, the Joseph F. Smith building. Okay, this was a new construction project that went in, and it's an interesting building and pros and cons. But when they did that, one of the things that every campus struggles with is parking, and so they built. This is working for you, right? The visuals are good enough for you here. I hope. This is resolution good enough, right? We're looking okay. Okay, but this is one that I kind of lived because if you notice, you have this parking right here, not really big lot, not a really big lot. And then you had, a bunch of parking, way the heck out there to the north. But, what you wanted to do when your office is right there, you wanted to snag one of these guys, right? And you didn't want to have to walk because that would be exercise. And so what I want you to think about is you're the designer of this building, okay? This JFSB, as they call it. And you decide, and unfortunately the visual on this is in the shadows on the satellite picture, sadly, but I want to try to see if I can show you something. Now, ways into our building, the Talmadge building, you could get in through a door over here, okay, on that sort of southwest corner, and you could come in here through the main part of the building. And this was not an entrance in the middle. That was just windows. But okay, so if you're coming from the south, you can come in through this main entrance here or through this, kind of side entrance up over here. Now, what I want to point out to you, see this thing right here on the right? If you look at that really closely, you can see that it's like vents, but it's also stairs. So that's stairs that go down to the parking, to the underground parking. It was like 3 layers, 3 floors, 3 layers of underground parking. Okay. And by the way, I think, Mike, I think that you're right that parking on just about any campus winds up being freaking bad. Okay, but I want you to just note a couple things. So this is exterior. You can go into the parking lot and you can come up these stairs through 3 stories and come up those stairs. Okay, that middle thing is vents, I think, from the parking, and then this right here again is vents plus the stairs. Okay, now this is what I want you to note. These two, first of all, what you can't see underneath in the parking on all 3 layers of the underground parking garage is that there are, I think there's actually maybe 2, but at least 1 entrance from the underground parking directly into the JFSB. Okay, so from that parking, you can get out of the parking lot one of 3 ways. You can go directly south from inside the parking garage, like, when you go to like City Creek or, some place with underground parking, and there's like some point where you see like sliding doors that take you into, some store, into the mall kind of thing. There's that kind of an arrangement to get you into the JFSB. That's one of the options. The other one is to come up these stairs, and the other one is to come up those stairs on the right. Okay? Those are the 3 ways of getting out of that parking garage structure, okay, on foot, without like walking back up. And by the way, you can kind of see that's the underground parking road going down in and back out. See that? And there's now like a little booth or something up there. Okay, and that takes you down so you can loop around and go in here. Okay, now let's start with one basic idea. Why there is no underground entrance from the parking straight into the Talmadge building. There is underground parking straight into the JFSB. Why? Let me just stop and ask the question, if you wouldn't mind, in the chats or just verbally. Why is there? Okay, one after the other. Can you be more precise, Tyson? Mr. Seeds, please. One after the other is too vague. Because I don't know what the one is and I don't know what the other is. The north building has a parking access in the building. You don't mean in the building, do you, Ali? Okay. Siege, you are excused. No, come on. What do you think? There's an access from that underground parking into the JFSB to the south and not into the Talmadge building on the north. Why? It's a fish. Just look at it. Money. No, Seth. Money. Okay. Poor planning. I don't think so. Not in this instance. Okay. So, Wes, which building are you talking about, Wes? When you said which was built first, the parking or the building, which building are you talking about? Yeah, so I think the actual answer, I think that Mr. Seeds has struck upon it. The Talmadge building was built in the 60s, 50s, 60s, something like that. Okay, the building on the north. Um, then this is the key. This is the key. The parking garage and the JFSB on the south were built at the same time. Okay, they were built concurrently. So what Mr. Seed said, they didn't bother with an entrance to the older one due to infrastructure issues, and I that's my best guess, right? You had to come in and try to retro your way through an existing foundation, right, for an existing building, um, and yeah, and the Talmadge building doesn't. The Talmadge building has one level basement, but not like two. It doesn't go down two floors, I don't think. You know. Yeah. Okay. So Seth, I get what you're saying. If there's enough money, you can do anything. But there's also reasonable, right? That's sort of a blanket statement. There's always a consideration of bang for the buck. Does that make sense, Seth? I think that's fair. Okay. So I want you to just think about this for a second, because this just becomes a prelude to what I want to talk about next. The underground parking and the JFSB were built at the same time. The architects were drawing up what, including like sidewalks and access, and that whole thing was all in the context of the JFSB. Okay. So when they were thinking about use case design relative to parking, who was the user? Use case involves users. Who were the users that they were designing the parking for? Talk to me. What do you say? Tunnel vision. Ali, let me see. Gunner, because they liked the professors in the JFSB more, thought the Talmadge Station professors needed more exercise. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. Right. No, exactly. So Walter said only the people using that building. So the use case for this parking, now where does the parking sit? It sits directly between two buildings. It is designed to service only one building. And I think that the main reason is simply that it was part of that design. That was the use case. You're not viewing the entire campus around you. You're just looking at this. Here's where the hole's going to go. This is what's going to get disrupted. And then we need to replace that. And it's done because the whole thing is designed and optimized. Now, this is the part where I think it's going to. Um, uh, no, so Kevin, the parking was faculty only, faculty and staff, not students. So it was definitely faculty staff parking. But it is clear to me that and I was already living in this north building, the Talmadge building, right? Okay, so I still appreciated the fact that there was parking closer if there wasn't parking in the one directly below my office. But now watch something very interesting. So the underground entrance goes only to the JFSB. I want you to note something. I'm not sure how far I can zoom in before I lose Rosa. I think that's it. Yeah, that's my best zoom. Okay. Okay. Look at this up. Look at this stairs, and look at this stairs, which is in the sunlight. What do you notice? Right, the stairs go loopy loop around. You can see it kind of rolling counterclockwise. Pops out here, right, and then dumps you to a sidewalk. Where does the sidewalk lead you? And then look at this one. Where does the sidewalk lead you? Does the same thing. loopy-loop to a sidewalk, and where does the sidewalk lead you? So in other words, there's no reason. In fact, I want to go. Yeah, I'm going to double down here. I think the answer is going to be pretty obvious, but um, no, I think so. Walter said because people using the Talmadge building were already parking somewhere. Why would they want to park closer? I don't. It could be, but I don't think so because wherever there's and BYU has much a kind of a monolithic central campus, as exists in some campuses. Parts of the University of Iowa were like that when I was there. Parts of Oregon State are like that. But it's BYU has a very much a centralized. UVU does as well, and the U does to some extent, I think, as well. But the notion that everybody wants to just try to get as close to the center as possible, you know what I mean? And so I think that the tension is going to be the same. That's my sense of it, Walter. Um, okay. Mike said Google has 3D view of buildings and profile. I wonder if I would see that if it were 3D view though. If I would see this. Okay, but I'm just asking you this question. Where's this sidewalk take you to? What's the emotion of you're coming out of the stairs and what is it? Right, the South Building. Thank you, Tyson. Right, isn't it just basically saying you pop out the stairs and it goes, oh, here you were going south, weren't you? Weren't you going to go south? Now, the reality is that because, again, it was built as part of this project, it's closest to the Talmadge building. You could, in fact, put a little blast through right here. Do you see you see the mouse kind of rolling there by the stairs there on the right? You could have put a walkthrough directly to the north and then, kind of led you right in to this thing, you know? But instead, you actually have to go down here, move past the landscaping, and if you're going to the Talmadge building, take a right and go back around the stairs. No, and I want to say one other thing, and this is kind of an interface design sort of a thing. For those of you who are already going, dude, fat man, you're only going like 10 feet out of your way. Okay, principle of design. If you have an app, smartphone app, whatever, or an interface or some kind, and there is one extra tap at every single point of tap, there is a fall off in engagement with any app, any program, any interface. As soon as you make another moment, there is a tension. And in the case of the app, some percentage, you can literally just watch. Here's your splash screen, and then you have to tap to do the next thing, and then it drops. And then if you have to make them tap something else, it drops in terms of who will just stop using the app. So what I'm saying is that it is true that it's not a big deal in some sense, but it's not great design in the sense that every extra step you put on somebody creates a problem. And I'm going to get to that we're going to go to UVU next. Yes, Wes, this is exactly where I was going to go. And there were at least examples at UVU of that exact thing. So what Wes said, for those on YouTube, have you heard of the campus that laid down grass, looked at what paths the students made, and then paved those paths? Yes. Um, and BYU didn't. I think, Walter, you said, I thought BYU did that. Um, I mean, you would think so. Looking at that configuration of concrete, it definitely looks like it. And I think they did go to school a little bit, and in fact, when you get to this sort of the quad, there was a little bit of common sense at least with, running some diagonals. But look what else, but look, you can see it right here. Do you see it? You see what that is? Okay. You're coming down this sidewalk and you're heading right here to the Jesse Knight building, right? That's your door. You're hardly burning anything and you can barely perceive it because it's not worn, it's not worn to a dirt path, but you can see the wear lines where people are like As soon as I can make my angle, I'm cutting to go straight. You can already see it, you know, because that's the difference between, trying to sort of like shoehorn people into some configuration. There used to be another one, and one of the ways they worked around that was with, planters and, hedge barricades and things like that. This right there, that sidewalk, didn't used to be there, and that was bad. You run this acute angle, and there was just a path that went right through there, and they paved it. So I think there's some learning going on for sure. I don't know if it was deliberate, but what I want to show you is this one here is even more extreme in the sense that you come out of the little stairs, and it's hedged all the way here. You got to go down past the bike paths to get to this sidewalk to turn around and double back, and it's all hedges, like kind of waist high or chest high hedges. So there's no bailout that way, and you got a door right there. So just saying, it's an example of this idea. What I want to do is let's go to UVU. I just want to look real quick because but here's the thing. This is the difficulty, and the reason why, in the example that Wes threw down, of actually having campuses and places where they just throw grass down and just let the students see. There's our campus. Let the students sort of determine, where the paths are. Where are we? We're right there. Let the resolution kind of like pan out. We do have the really cool thing at UVU where we've got, the indoor everywhere thing. Okay, some of you that have been on the campus for a while. Okay, this is interesting. Okay, it's a little deceptive. Wait. Is that sidewalk now? Here along this corner? This is just outside the, okay. 2 years ago, the first time I looked at that, there was no, correct me if I'm having a false memory, but my recollection is that because there was a student that brought it up, said, go check out that thing along the college drive. And there was a dirt path in the grass, because it goes like from there down to like the Institute building or something. Anyway, but what you saw was dirt path, and I think they've paved it. Is that right? Okay, I'll look further south or north, Mike. The picture. Oh, you highlighted it in the picture in the comments. Hold on. Okay, are we talking about? Hang on, I'm looking at your picture. Oh, right along. Okay. Oh, there. Right here. I think I'm nailing it right finally. Yeah. Sorry, I'm so slow. Um, yeah. Well, anyway, yeah, no, but this is the idea, right? Now, I know you could say, well, come on, people. Well, yeah, sure. But on the other hand, great design, it's Alexander. It's Alexander again, right? It's sort of a resonating with the human experience. Obviously, the human starting down here. Where are they coming out of? Probably this entrance of the CS building. Does that sound right? Okay, yeah. So you're coming out of the corner here, coming down, and then you get to about here, and you're trying to go. I guess that's an entrance over there, or are you trying to get to the road? I don't walk over there. Okay, I don't live my life over there like you guys do. Um, But obviously, you make the turn or you come across the parking lot here, right? Okay, fastest way to the Sorensen Center by just cutting diagonal. Okay, I see what you're saying. You're going, oh, and then you can see the dirt over here. That whole area is kind of like a well-worn path up over there. Okay, interesting, fascinating, right? But this is the idea. If you do the thing well, you're resonating, you're harmonizing with sort of the human experience, right? And the human experience has certain preferences, and obviously going down this sidewalk 90-degree back that way, now 90 degrees back that way, you know, and then it's a little, I guess that's, I don't know, there's kind of a little road unit, but the whole thing is just not set up to understand that there are people leaving the CS building headed to the Sorensen building. So anyway, obviously designers, good designers of, campuses, cities, that kind of thing, understand that, they get that. And in some cases, as you could kind of see here, and you could kind of, um, you know, the ability to be okay putting sidewalks that channel traffic more. It's also going to channel traffic more efficiently. And the thing is, where you don't have at UVU, where we have the indoor, the indoor traversal of the space, BYU you don't have that. A lot of most campuses don't have anything like that, and so you also are dealing with between classes potentially a large population, and you're also streamlining the flow of traffic. So, yeah. Um, okay, let me see. Ali, just looking at the picture that you posted. Yeah, and then Kevin posted one. Yeah, okay. So if you guys can see, right, and really, here's an interesting question. Okay, the one that Kevin posted, right, with a little red arrow, you can see, um, yeah, it'll pop up right here. This is the one that Kevin posted, right? You can see the wear marks where people here, so like, where are they coming from? They're coming down this sidewalk, and then they make a decision. And this is the decision point. So if you're going to go in here, especially, right, what are you going to do? You can go all the way around and cut back. You can do this serious queue. So this whole thing is designed basically to come from that side, but not to come from that side. And then I guess, oh, it got big. That was so great. But then it, sort of makes you wonder, what's the problem with putting another diagonal through here and then just doing something clever? And what you saw in the BYU example was these were kind of rounded, so you didn't get that sharp, acute angle in there, that really sharp, thing, but you'd have more of a rounded thing for the planters to be round, and the surfaces there on the sidewalk to be round. Yeah, I think you get the idea of what I'm trying to get at. Um, Reality is, our campus is so like building to building constrained. There are not nearly as many examples of that phenomenon, you know, as you would have at BYU or some other thing. But what's really interesting about this as a case study, is really kind of all I'm trying to get to. This as a case study with, I'm just looking around to see what other, oh, here's another one, by the way. Let me just say this. You see this down here? I don't know if you can see these. Do you know this area down here where the little pond units are? Someone decided, hey, this whole structure there, that whole area is kind of vaguely park-like. It's got but it's got way too much just water to be really park-like. But they decided they would make it park-like. And so what they did, I don't know how many of you know where I'm going on this. Just a second. Let me get that out of the way. West, slime mold. Great. Yeah, am I still there? Ah, tell me when I'm back. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay, I'm back okay? All right. What I want to tell you about, sorry about that. What I want to tell you about this is that over here, it's difficult to see from this angle, but I believe that guy right there is a disc golf hole. So they actually have frisbee golf, disc golf that goes kind of around this whole area. Okay. There's another one. Um, there's another one up over there. Okay. Now, how many of you have are disc golfers? There's another one. How many of you? I am. Have been in the past. Used to be very good at it, frankly, when I was young and athletic. Okay, what's the problem? Disc golfers, please speak up. What is the problem? Yeah, it's Dallin. It's a good way to go swimming for your frisbee a lot. Jet, I would lose my disc into the pond so fast. Right. And the thing is, the nature of disc golf, when you're, okay, this is somebody, I don't know who made this design decision, but I think they didn't understand disc golf or just the art of frisbee. Um, because what happens when you're doing disc golf, typically you're in the woods or someplace like that. You can't have, it's like when they just recently, a week ago, played the Pebble Beach Pro-Am on the PGA Tour. Um, and you're on the ocean, you got cliffs, you've got water, and you lose a ball. What do? You're like, oh, that was $5 or whatever a golf ball costs. And you take your penalty stroke and you grab another ball, and you put it down, take your penalty, and you keep playing. So it's okay. But disc golf, this is the only, in my experience, I'm not saying it never exists, but in my experience, this is the only disc golf course facility that I've ever personally known, seen, or I've walked along there, but I've never thrown a disc, because the thing about a disc is if you miss it just right, the wind blows just right, even if you're hitting throwing it, pretty well, it can hit, and then the disc will take off rolling, and it can roll, in circles, and if the wind catches it and you go far off, if you're in the woods, whatever, your biggest risk is like Lyme disease or something, you're going to go out there and get in some poison ivy or something. Um, but here, you float that thing, it goes out there 20 feet. What are you going to do? Just like, you don't just like take your penalty, go in your bag, grab another disc. It's more expensive than a golf ball, you know? Um, yeah, man. Um, oh, there we go. Oh, wow. Thanks, Seth. Yeah, people in wheelchairs don't get to cross here. Yeah, yeah. Wow. Wow. That seems, here, let me throw it up for everybody on YouTube. It's in the chat, but yeah, right? Yeah, sorry, wheelchair pals. Sucks to be you right there. You know, I wouldn't have even thought that was like, I don't know what the guidelines are, what the laws are, but I wouldn't have even thought it was legal to do that. Is that our campus, Seth? Yeah. Okay. Super slow. We're probably going to get spotty again. Oh, and it's by a bus stop, right? It's an ADA claim waiting to happen. Nice. Okay. Yeah. No, so the point is, I've first of all, I can't even, as a disc golfer myself, I can't even comprehend attempting um, to try to play some frisbee golf in this basically, pond with some strips of grass. It's so anyway, it's just the use case wants to be disc golfers, but then that is the user. But the use case says to an actual disc golfer, um, don't, just don't. It would be dumb. And so you have, you know, anyway, it's an anti-pattern. It's like the opposite of what Alexander would be going for, right? This basically the entire configuration and architecture screams, don't play disc golf here. Walter just said American Fork just started grinding down all the sidewalk corners at intersections last year. All right. Okay. Anyway, that's sort of, but this is the idea. Now, here's the point. Um, it's easy to see it when you talk about Alexander, and it's interesting because we talked about Alexander in the first place to introduce you to the idea of patterns, so that you understood where the origins of Goth patterns were from. Okay, and Alexander was an architect, and the famous book, which is still just sitting here, the famous book, is all about buildings and cities and that kind of thing. So it considers all of that kind of human interaction with physical spaces. Therefore, it really illustrates a lot of these ideas when we show the ways that humans interact with these, physical places. It's a little more esoteric, it's a little more conceptual when we try to do it, in the same way, try to apply those same principles, but talk about software. Or what do you do with software, design? Right? Well, who's the user? You can talk about use case design and at least talk about the user as somebody who has to maintain your code. What have you done in a way, right? What are the design patterns for how to code in a maintainable way, right? Those are patterns. They're not Goth patterns, but the notion of, block comments are a pattern. They're an idiomatic pattern. Maybe even higher level than an idiomatic pattern, but they definitely relate to coding, right? You know what I'm trying to say. You understand what a block comment is. You understand what the header comments are. Block comments for chunks of stuff. Individual comments to explain, tricky stuff or stuff that's not obvious to the first time reader. Things to kind of guide you in the cognitive process of building a mental model. So even at the level of coding, there are best practices that relate to patterns. If you're building an API that somebody has to write to, right? Are you thinking about where's that other person coming from? Where's that code coming from? Where's the entry point? How are you being, this is why we wind up refactoring a lot is you take your best cut. It wasn't, it wasn't insightful enough. It wasn't foresightful enough, and so the next thing you know, you're refactoring so that you can extend it to this other kind of world. And that's not all bad. I'm not saying, you shouldn't over-architect the crap out of everything. You should architect it to the level needed and refactor as you need to. But I'm just saying that refactoring at some level is a failure to have anticipated, really, at the end of the day, a use case. Okay. Okay, so let me hit a couple other things in our time, a couple other Norman things. And this one I don't know if we talked about. I know I talked about it a little bit. The device itself is a knowledge storage instrument and should teach you all of its functions in the moment in which you first encounter the device. if it's done right. Okay? It just invites you to try the thing. And when you try it, you're not punished for it, right? What about this one? The garbage disposal switch right next to the light switch. Anybody had, like, there's usually a spoon in the garbage disposal. When you hit the garbage disposal switch, um, yeah, that's right, down. Yeah, grind up your spoons to turn on the light. Okay, so what's the pattern? What's the pattern to teach you? Right, isn't it? Oh, usually there's a sink light and a garbage disposal light. They look exactly the same. They both say on, off. First of all, how about this one? When you encounter lights that have been put in upside down, where the switch itself is upside down, and I'm not talking about three-way switches, which are three or four-way switches, which are more difficult to get them to sync up. I mean, typically, it could be up or down and be on or off because you've got several that are, in conjunction. But just a straight up switch, right here, I got an on and an off. But when the switch goes up, right? I mean, don't you have kind of a pattern that says up should be on and down should be off as a general rule? Okay, Walter says something that I don't know if I agree with, and this may just be local experience, right? Walter said usually the garbage disposal switch is at least the closest to the sink. Your apartment's the opposite. Garbage disposal is the further switch. Okay, my experience has been exactly the opposite of that, Walter, where the light switch, and it's almost like the dangerous one is further away. I don't know if that makes sense. Yeah, I think it's actually random. But this is a problem because when you approach so who said it? Yeah, Kevin said garbage disposal switches should be a different color or visibly different in another way. And I agree. I agree completely. Because, I mean, and at some level, when you finally hit it, brrr, and you realize if your hand had been in there, or there was a spoon or something, whatever. And, it fires up, and it's garbage disposal is inherently dangerous. So to have two switches that are identical and you don't know, and what you wind up having to just remember, you just have to store it in your head as you approach the sink to remember which one is which, or put a little label. Now we just violated, the Don Norman principle that if you have to put a label on it, like push or pull, then it's badly designed, right? Let me see. Riley said, practicality versus usability. You're more likely to use a light switch, so putting it closer makes sense. Having the garbage disposal switch closer to the sink implies that it goes to the sink, right? My house, I swear, I've lived in a number of houses where everything was wired. I always think about, like, the port. Like if I've got a set of switches, my front door has like 4 switches. I think the porch light should be the one closest to the door, right? It's close. You know what I mean? But you're looking for a pattern. You're looking for a metaphor of some kind to kind of teach you, you know. And again, the device should teach you. If you have to remember it in your head between uses, then you're doing something wrong. Okay? The device should not have to retain arbitrary details about the device. Sorry, the user shouldn't have to keep arbitrary details in their head in order to interact seamlessly. Okay? This one, little Gary Larson, Far Side. I don't know. Your mileage may vary on that one. Let me see. Dallin said, it seems like a lot of security principles fly in the face of these design principles. Right? Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. Remembering a password versus this principle not having to retain arbitrary details. Is that just something we should accept? Oh, or are we doing something wrong? Man, I don't know. I mean, I think there is, increasingly, right, biometric, right? I look at my phone, I swipe up, it looks at my face. That's a weird sort of invasion of privacy also. But my alternative is to remember that code and type it in every time. remember passwords. The worst actually is the change your password every month, or change your password every short bit of time, because pretty soon after 12 months, I've been in organizations that did that, like change your password every month. What do you usually just wind up tacking on like the month and date at, the month and year at the end of it or something, so it just changes. And then increasingly, like Anthony said, the password manager, right? Um, yeah, but let me see. Oh, Kevin said garbage disposal. Sorry, I'm back on garbage disposals. Should be a large red latching button. Yeah, I like that. I like that. Um, Walter said 3 switches on the panel for the porch light, porch hallway, and living room. Always takes Walter 3 tries, no matter what light I want to turn on. Yeah, it's true. That's the thing. No, but I think that what Dallin was talking about was the idea that a lot of security principles require that you remember stuff, know stuff, and it's just a sort of you know, it's an attempt to have it be nobody else but you can get in, right? My problem is, like, you've all seen the movies where they need like a retinal scan to get in, and a fingerprint. So like they kill the guy, they take his eyeball out, they cut his thumb off. Like, I just don't want to. I'd rather just tell them my password. You know what I mean? When they threaten me. Um, Walter's. Yeah, nice, Walter. That's your password manager. Just use the same stupid password every time. Um, Mike recommends Microsoft's password-free sign-on, for example. Slooper Slick lets me use a longer password than I would otherwise. Seth, what are you doing? But show us something silly, Seth. Okay, let me go back. Let's go some more Norman. Rule of thumb. This is the Norman, kind of the main. Mythbusters got around a fingerprint scanner with a piece of tape. Really, truly, like they really did it. Yeah, the problem is once you've hacked it, now what do you do? If you're dependent upon, I can replicate your fingerprint. What do you do? Go get a new body? Go get new DNA? If you have to like pee in a cup, to drop to get in, you know what I mean? And somebody can whatever chemically or DNA reproduce that, you're in. Um, yeah, right. That's what I was saying. Down biometrics are also bad because you can't change them once they're compromised. Right. That's a struggle. I mean, they're good for a while. It's like an arms race, right? So it's good for a while, then eventually it'll go away. Um, oh, Anthony was talking to Seth, not me. Okay. About 3 minutes before class ends. Let me see. Seth's got attitude today. He would pee in a cup to get into a building. We all would. Depends on the building. Um, okay. All right. There you go. That's Norman's main rule. When instructions have to be pasted, it is badly designed. Yes. Yes. And I'm not counting intuitive things. Like, for example, my little light. Let me show you this. This is my little thing for my light right here. And I don't think that counts. There's a logo I can't even read. No, it actually says on off right there. But it's got the kind of the universal, see what I mean? It's got the kind of the universal on off guy, if you notice, right? So I don't think that, to me, that's not the same thing as sticky noting, some push or pull, or having a label. Um, Let me see. Oh, right. Yeah. Wes was talking about biometrics when people are genetically different, shade of skin, things of that sort. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna go. We got just a couple minutes. Okay, what about this one? Just look at that for a second. I'm gonna show you a few little elevator design. Now here's my best guess. Um, you know, close and open. Okay, but now notice a couple things. First of all, in this elevator, I took this picture myself. I tried all four buttons, and the two buttons on the left work exactly the same, and the two buttons on the right work exactly the same. They would do the exact same things. Also, look at the braille. Look at the braille label. I mean, I don't read braille, but I can compare two patterns of dots and tell you whether they are the same or different. Not crazy? Let me see something. Let me do one more because it's we're coming up on time. These are fun. But that whole notion of, what's the sign? What does it mean? What about this one? Most of these pictures I took myself. Check this one out for a second. Okay, I want to go to the main lobby. Which button do I push? Easy, right? I pushed 1. I want to go to the Garden View Cafe. Which button do I push? This is classic. Somebody knows something by some name. Somebody else knows something by a different name. And then you mismatch the two, right? Somebody knew what LL, you know. So the B also, there's a star on the B, and we go B. So first of all, we're duplicating 2 and 2, B and B, 1 and 1. And then we got a label pointing you to LL, which you presume means lower level. But is that B, which probably stands for basement? And LL might be lobby, laughter lobby. I don't know. Lower lobby, lots of love, laugh out loud. I don't know, right? But do you see what I mean? You see the fundamental failure, lava level. Yeah, sit down. No, the fundamental failure is that, I mean, main lobby 1, fine. Garden View Cafe. This is in a hospital, by the way. This is in Utah Valley Hospital. Um, obviously to somebody, they know what the lower level is. They know which of these is the lower level. It's got to be either B or 1. Why the star on B? Usually that's when you kind of walk out, right? But it's just, it's a failure. It's a failure. It's a failure of empathy. It's a failure to get outside of yourself and recognize that the user doesn't know whether 1 or B is LL. Now you have to know that in order to use this elevator properly without being Walter and going up and down all day trying to find the Garden View Cafe. Yeah. Okay, Seth, do your thing, man. And we're at time, so if anybody needs to jet, but what were you doing, Seth? What were you? You live? Wait, you live where? Okay. Wait, where's the video? Is it part of the? No, I know, but I mean, is this streaming to Discord? Where are you streaming? Where do we see your video? Because my problem is I'm streaming my video into Discord. Maybe I can see it. No, I can see you. I can see you. Okay, there we go. There we go. But like some are locked. It's got right. It's got the pull handle on both sides. Right. Yeah. And then you wind up just having to remember. That's funny. Cool, man. Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. Well, we're out. Thanks for the share, Seth. Okay. I already see everybody.